Predators leave bones scattered. Scavengers drag them off. Natural death leaves them in one place with the skeleton more or less intact. But when you find fresh deer bones arranged in perfect geometric patterns, ribs forming spirals, vertebrae stacked in pyramids, skulls positioned to face cardinal directions, you're not looking at the work of any animal that follows the rules of nature. You're looking at an offering, and the worst thing you can do is stick around to see what accepts it. My name is Jennifer Redwood, and I'm a wilderness ranger for the San Juan National Forest in Colorado. My grandfather was Ute, and he taught me to read the forest the way his people had for thousands of years. The natural world has language, he'd say. Bones tell stories, but some arrangements aren't stories, they're invitations. And witnessing an invitation means you've been included in it, whether you wanted to be or not. I learned what he meant in November 2023 when I found the circles. I was doing a routine boundary patrol along the Vallecito Trail, coordinates 37.4789 degree 107.234 degree W, checking for illegal hunting activity. November is elk season, and we always get hunters who push into restricted areas or take more than their permits allow. The snow had come early that year, 6 inches on the ground already, which made tracking easier. Any movement left clear evidence. That's how I found the first circle. Boot prints leading into the forest, human-sized, recent. I followed them about a quarter-mile off trail into a small clearing ringed by ponderosa pines, and in the center of that clearing was something that made me stop cold. Deer bones, fresh. I could still smell the faint copper scent of blood, but they weren't scattered or torn apart. They were arranged. A perfect circle of ribs, each one pointing outward like the spokes of a wheel. In the center, the spine laid out in a spiral, the skull positioned at true north, jaw open, empty eye sockets facing the sky. The leg bones formed a square around the outside, and every single bone was clean, stripped of meat, tendons, everything, but not gnawed, surgically clean. I keyed my radio. Base, this is Ranger 47. I'm finding unusual wildlife remains at grid 37N107 Dolbovers. Appears to be arranged deliberately. Possible illegal hunting or ritual activity. Static, then dispatch. Copy that, 47. Can you document and investigate? Affirmative, standby. I pulled out my camera and started documenting. That's when I noticed the second thing wrong. No blood on the snow, none. The bones were fresh enough that blood should have pooled, stained the white powder red. But the snow around and under the arrangement was pristine. And the third thing, no tracks approaching the circle except the boot prints I'd followed. And those tracks? They stopped at the edge of the clearing and didn't enter. Like whoever made them had stood at the tree line, seen what was here, and immediately left. Smart person. I wasn't that smart. I stepped into the clearing to get closer photos. The temperature dropped. Not gradually, instantly. My breath went from barely visible to forming ice crystals that fell like snow. The forest went completely silent. No wind, no birds, no small animals rustling in the underbrush. Just absolute, suffocating quiet. And I felt it. Something watching. Not from the trees, from the bones themselves. Like the arrangement was an eye. And by stepping into the circle, I'd moved into its field of vision. I backed out slowly, keeping my camera raised, snapping photos without looking at what I was capturing. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but running prey triggers chase response. My grandfather had taught me that too. Once I was back at the tree line, the temperature normalized. The forest sounds returned. Wind, the distant call of a raven, the creak of branches, like I'd stepped back through a membrane into the normal world. I checked the photos. Most were fine, clear shots of the bone arrangement from multiple angles. But 3 of them showed something else. In the center of the spiral, where there had been nothing when I took the pictures, was a shape. Dark, humanoid but wrong, too tall, proportions off, like someone had stretched a human form on a rack. It was translucent in the first photo, more solid in the second, almost fully manifested in the third, and it was looking directly at the camera, at me. I ran then. Forgot protocol, forgot evidence collection. Just got the hell out of that clearing. The boot prints I'd been following led me back to the trail where they intersected with a parked car, empty now, driver gone. Colorado plates, rental sticker. I called it in, but the vehicle came back clean. Returned to the rental company 3 days later with no reported issues. Driver never flagged for questioning because they never stayed long enough to become a person of interest. But I had to go back. Protocol demanded it. I waited until the next day, brought a partner, Jake Morrison, a ranger who'd been working these mountains for 20 years, and returned to the clearing. The circle was gone, not disturbed, gone. No bones, no marks in the snow where they'd been, no blood, nothing. Just untouched powder and the impression that something had been accepted, consumed, taken elsewhere. But at the exact center of where the circle had been, we found a new arrangement, smaller. Just 3 bones, a human radius, ulna, and humerus. Left arm, arranged in the same spiral pattern as the deer spine had been. Jake went white. "That's fresh," he whispered. "Jesus, Jenny, that bone still got tissue on it." He was right. Small bits of meat still clung to the ends. Surgical precision removal, just like the deer. And the bones were warm. In November snow, with the temperature in the teens, the bones were warm to the touch. We called in a full investigation. Cadaver dogs, forensics, the works. They found the rest of the body 3 days later, buried in a shallow grave 2 miles away. Marcus Webb, 34, a wildlife photographer from Denver who'd been reported missing 4 days earlier. Last known location, Vallecito Trail, where his car had been found. Cause of death, undetermined. No wounds, no trauma, no sign of struggle. His left arm had been removed with impossible precision, clean cuts through bone and joint that no tool in our database could replicate. And he'd been dead for 5 days. But those bones I'd found were fresh, still warm, like they'd been part of something alive hours earlier, not days. The official report called it a homicide by person unknown with ritualistic elements. They suspected a cult. No arrests were ever made. But I filed a second report, the one that goes to the Ute Cultural Liaison, the one only rangers with tribal connections see. I described the bone circles, the temperature drop, the watching presence, the thing that appeared in my photos. And I attached those 3 photos. The elder who reviewed my report wasn't surprised. "Bone circles are offerings," he explained. "Some of our people used to make them for hunts, asking as spirits to be successful. But those were simple arrangements, and they were made with respect and proper ritual. What you found, that's not our way. That's older, darker. Something learned the pattern, but not the meaning. It makes offerings to attract certain things, things that hunger for more than meat." "What kind of things?" "The kind that exist in the spaces between breath and death. The kind that can't fully enter our world without invitation, without sacrifice." The deer circle was an invitation. Mr. Webb witnessed it, and by witnessing, he became part of it. The offering accepted him. "But I witnessed it too." "Yes, and you photographed it, captured its image forming. That's problematic." He was right, because 2 weeks later, I found another circle, and then another. Always when I was alone. Always fresh deer bones, perfect arrangements, positioned where I'd have to see them during routine patrols. Like something was leaving them specifically for me to find. The 5th circle was different. The bones formed my name, Jennifer, spelled out in vertebrae and ribs. Impossible to read unless you were standing at a specific angle. My angle. The direction I'd approach from. It knew me. It was calling me. I stopped going out alone. Started bringing Jake or other rangers on every patrol. But that just meant more people finding circles, more witnesses. And one by one they started seeing things at the edge of their vision. Tall shapes that shouldn't exist. Movements too quick to track. Shadows that fell the wrong direction. Then Jake found the human circle. 11 bodies, all missing persons from the past 3 years. All arranged in that same spiral pattern in a cave system we'd somehow never fully explored. All with left arms removed and positioned in the center. All cause of death. Undetermined. And in the exact middle of the spiral, carved into stone, an invitation written in a language that predated Ute, predated humans entirely. But we could read it anyway, because it wasn't meant to be read. It was meant to be understood on a level below consciousness. It said, "Come witness, come join, come feed what hungers." We closed that cave, sealed it with concrete and steel, posted warnings. The official story is structural instability and unsafe conditions. But the real reason is written in the Ute liaison files. Site compromised by entity that converts witnesses into offerings. Do not enter. Do not observe. Do not acknowledge. Here's what keeps me awake. Last week I found another circle. Not bones this time. Branches and leaves arranged in that same spiral pattern. And in the center, a photo of me, taken yesterday, from behind, showing something standing next to me that wasn't there when I looked around. Showing that it's always next to me now. That I've been witnessed so many times that I'm becoming the offering. My grandfather was right. Bone circles aren't just patterns, they're language. Communication between something in our world and something that wants in. Each arrangement is a door, each witness a key. And I've seen too many circles now. I've been marked, claimed, slowly pulled across the boundary between witness and offering. If you hike in the backcountry and you find fresh bones arranged in patterns, perfect circles, spirals, geometric shapes that shouldn't exist in nature, leave immediately. Don't photograph them. Don't approach them. Don't try to understand them. Because the offering wasn't meant for you. But you've seen it now. You've witnessed the invitation. And something out there keeps score of who's watching. Marcus Webb learned that. The 11 people in the cave learned that. I'm learning it now, too late to save myself. The circles appear more frequently now. Sometimes daily, always in places I'll patrol, always fresh, always more complex. It's teaching me its language, slowly showing me how to arrange the bones myself. And worst of all, I'm starting to understand, starting to see the beauty in the patterns, starting to feel the pull toward making offerings of my own. Soon I think I'll be the one arranging the circles, inviting others to witness, helping more people cross over from observer to offering. Because that's what happens when you see too many. Eventually, you don't just witness the ritual, you become part of it.